Are you over 60? You've probably been told your whole life that fruit is one of the healthiest things you can eat, packed with vitamins, fiber, and antioxidants. And for good reason. Many people I've worked with make it a habit to reach for fruit in the evening, thinking it's the perfect guilt-free snack before bed. It feels like a smart choice, natural, wholesome, satisfying. But here's what most people don't realize. When you eat certain fruits after 5 p.m., especially as a senior, your body's nighttime metabolism can turn that innocent snack into a silent trigger for dangerously elevated LDL cholesterol levels by morning. In fact, I'm going to reveal exactly how long it actually takes for these specific fruits to begin affecting your cholesterol and cardiovascular system once the sun goes down, and why this timing window is so critical for anyone over 60. Plus, I'll share 4 specific fruits that you should never eat after 5 p.m. if you want to protect your heart and keep your cholesterol in check. But here's where it gets even more crucial. One of these fruits is widely recommended by health professionals as heart-healthy, yet recent findings from cardiovascular research centers show that consuming it late in the evening activates a metabolic shift in seniors that accelerates arterial plaque formation overnight. And if you've been using this particular fruit as your regular evening snack to curb cravings or boost nutrition, you need to know there's a hidden nighttime mechanism that could be quietly compromising your arteries as you sleep. But don't worry, I'll show you a simple adjustment later that lets you still enjoy it safely without the risk. I've saved the most surprising fruit for last, the one that catches almost everyone off guard, so make sure you stay until the end. Now let me quickly explain why this common evening habit is such a widespread mistake, and why it matters so much for your heart health. Over the years, I've guided thousands of people who genuinely believed they were making a healthy choice by snacking on fruit before bed. And it makes sense. Fruit is natural, it's sweet without added sugar, and it feels like the responsible alternative to dessert. But what most people don't realize is that your body's ability to process fructose and natural sugars changes dramatically after early evening, especially once you pass 60. Your circadian rhythm, insulin sensitivity, and liver function all shift gears as night approaches, and when certain high-sugar or high-glycemic fruits enter your system after 5 p.m., they don't get metabolized the same way they would earlier in the day. Instead, your liver begins converting excess fructose into triglycerides at a much faster rate during nighttime hours, and those triglycerides directly contribute to LDL cholesterol production while you sleep. This is why seniors who eat these particular fruits late often wake up with blood work showing cholesterol spikes that seem to come out of nowhere. It's not the fruit itself that's the enemy, it's the timing. And the frustrating part? Most people have no idea this is happening until their doctor flags their cholesterol levels at their next checkup. So understanding which fruits trigger this response, and why your body reacts this way after dark, is absolutely essential if you want to keep your heart protected and your cholesterol stable. Now, let's dive into the 4 fruits you need to avoid after 5 p.m. First, ripe bananas. You've probably reached for a ripe banana in the evening more times than you can count, thinking you're making a healthy choice. After all, bananas are packed with potassium, fiber, and natural energy. But here's what catches most people off guard. When a banana reaches full ripeness, its resistant starch converts almost entirely into simple sugars, and if you're eating it after 5 p.m. as a senior, your body's nighttime metabolic state transforms that innocent snack into a cholesterol spiking trigger by morning. Research from the American Heart Association has shown that late evening consumption of high glycemic foods in adults over 60 significantly elevates LDL cholesterol production overnight due to reduced insulin sensitivity and altered circadian metabolism. The reason this matters so much for your heart health is that ripe bananas have a glycemic index that can soar above 60, meaning they cause rapid blood sugar spikes that your liver, already working in fat storage mode after dark, converts into triglycerides at an accelerated rate. Those triglycerides then fuel the production of low-density lipoprotein cholesterol, the kind that clogs your arteries and raises your cardiovascular risk. And this is the fruit I mentioned earlier that so many health professionals recommend for heart health, and they're not wrong during the day. But recent findings from cardiovascular research centers reveal that when seniors consume ripe bananas after 5 p.m., the combination of high fructose content and your body's nighttime metabolic shift creates a perfect storm for arterial plaque acceleration. If you've been relying on this fruit as your regular evening snack to curb sweet cravings or boost potassium before bed, you need to understand that there's a hidden mechanism activated after dark. Your liver's fructose processing capacity drops significantly in the evening hours, forcing excess fructose down a metabolic pathway that prioritizes fat synthesis and cholesterol production while you sleep. The good news is you don't have to eliminate bananas entirely, just shift your consumption window. Cardiovascular specialists at Johns Hopkins recommend that if you want the heart protective benefits of bananas, eat them before 3 p.m. when your insulin sensitivity is still optimal and your body can properly metabolize the sugars without triggering overnight cholesterol spikes. Here's a practical tip. If you love bananas, choose slightly green or just ripe ones earlier in the day, and pair them with a protein source like unsweetened Greek yogurt or a handful of almonds to slow sugar absorption. For evening snacking, swap that banana for a small serving of berries or a handful of walnuts. Both satisfy sweet cravings without the glycemic surge. And if you absolutely must have a banana later in the day because of scheduling or preference, limit it to half a banana and combine it with healthy fats like almond butter to buffer the blood sugar impact. While ripe bananas pose the most significant evening cholesterol risk for seniors with existing metabolic concerns or prediabetes, the next fruit on this list targets an even broader group, anyone over 60 who's dealing with insulin resistance, which affects nearly 40% of seniors, often without them even knowing it. Second, grapes. Have you ever wondered why that small bowl of grapes you enjoy while watching TV at night seems harmless, yet your cholesterol levels keep creeping up despite your best efforts? Grapes are one of nature's sweetest fruits, and while they're loaded with antioxidants like resveratrol that protect your heart during the day, eating them after 5 p.m. flips the script entirely for seniors. A study published by the National Institutes of Health found that grapes contain some of the highest natural fructose concentrations among common fruits, nearly 8 grams of fructose per 100 grams, and when consumed in the evening by adults over 60, this fructose overload directly stimulates hepatic lipogenesis, the process by which your liver converts sugar into fat and subsequently into LDL cholesterol overnight. The mechanism behind this is both fascinating and concerning. As evening progresses, your body's circadian rhythm signals your liver to shift from glucose metabolism to fat storage in preparation for the overnight fasting period. When you introduce a high fructose fruit like grapes into this equation, your liver becomes overwhelmed and begins packaging excess fructose into very low-density lipoproteins, which mature into the dangerous LDL cholesterol particles that contribute to arterial plaque buildup by morning. This is especially problematic for seniors because your metabolic flexibility, your body's ability to switch between burning carbs and fats, declines significantly after 60, making you far more vulnerable to these evening sugar surges. Nutrition researchers at Harvard School of Public Health recommend that if you enjoy grapes, limit your portion to no more than half a cup and consume them before 2 p.m. when your body's insulin response is strongest and can handle the fructose load without triggering excessive cholesterol synthesis. But here's the practical challenge. Most people don't measure out half a cup of grapes. They mindlessly snack on them by the handful, often consuming 2 or 3 cups in a single sitting without realizing they've just delivered a massive fructose dose right when their metabolism is least equipped to handle it. If you're someone who loves grapes and can't imagine giving them up entirely, here's a workaround that lets you enjoy them more safely. Rinse and freeze your grapes, then eat them frozen earlier in the day as a refreshing treat that takes longer to consume, naturally limiting your portion size. For evening snacking, replace grapes with cucumber slices, cherry tomatoes, or a small handful of macadamia nuts, all of which satisfy the hand-to-mouth snacking habit without the fructose overload. And if you're in a situation where grapes are the only option available in the evening, perhaps at a social gathering or family event, pair them with a protein source like a piece of cheese or a few nuts to slow down fructose absorption and minimize the cholesterol spike. While grapes are particularly problematic for seniors with insulin resistance or those already managing high cholesterol, the next fruit creates an even more dramatic overnight cholesterol response and affects a wider range of people, including those who think their metabolism is still functioning normally. If you're new to the Health Waiver Prime community and you're finding this information valuable, I'd love for you to subscribe so we can continue sharing tailored health guidance specifically designed for seniors just like you. It's completely free to join. And I'm genuinely curious, how old are you right now, and how has your health been treating you lately? Drop your age and a quick update in the comments. I read every single one, and your experiences help shape the content we create together. Number 3. Pineapple. What if I told you that the tropical fruit you've been enjoying as a healthy evening dessert contains an enzyme that, while beneficial during the day, actually amplifies cholesterol production when consumed after 5 p.m. by seniors? Pineapple is unique because it contains bromelain, a powerful enzyme that aids digestion and reduces inflammation when eaten at the right time. But here's what research from the University of Florida's Institute of Food and Agricultural Sciences revealed. Pineapple's exceptionally high sugar content, combined with its rapid digestion rate, creates an immediate glucose and fructose surge that hits your bloodstream faster than almost any other fruit, and when this happens in the evening, your liver responds by ramping up triglyceride and LDL cholesterol synthesis at rates that can persist for up to 12 hours. The reason pineapple is so particularly concerning for evening consumption is its glycemic load, a measure of how quickly and how much a food raises your blood sugar. Fresh pineapple has a glycemic load of 6 per 100 grams, which might not sound alarming until you realize that most people consume 150 to 200 grams in a single serving, pushing that load into the high glycemic territory that triggers aggressive insulin responses. For seniors over 60, whose pancreatic function and insulin sensitivity naturally decline, this evening insulin spike doesn't efficiently shuttle sugar into cells for energy. Instead, it signals your liver to convert the excess into fat, and that fat becomes the raw material for LDL cholesterol production throughout the night. Clinical nutritionists at the Mayo Clinic recommend that if pineapple is part of your diet, consume it before noon and limit portions to about 80 grams, roughly half a cup of fresh chunks, and always pair it with a fat or protein source like cottage cheese or a small handful of cashews to buffer the glycemic impact. But here's what most people don't realize. Canned pineapple, which many seniors prefer for convenience, is even worse because it's typically packed in syrup that adds 15 to 20 grams of additional sugar per serving, effectively doubling the cholesterol spiking potential. One woman, Margaret, a 67-year-old retired teacher, had been eating a bowl of canned pineapple every evening for years, convinced she was making a healthy choice because it's fruit. Her LDL cholesterol stubbornly remained elevated despite medication, and it wasn't until she eliminated evening pineapple and shifted her fruit consumption to morning hours that her numbers finally dropped by 34 points within 3 months. If you love the tropical sweetness of pineapple and want to keep it in your diet without the evening cholesterol spike, here's a practical strategy. Enjoy fresh pineapple as part of your breakfast or mid-morning snack, combined with protein-rich foods like unsweetened Greek yogurt or a scoop of nut butter spread on whole-grain toast. For evening cravings, swap pineapple for kiwi fruit or a small apple with the skin on. Both provide satisfying sweetness and fiber without the dramatic glycemic surge. And if you find yourself in a situation where pineapple is served as dessert at a dinner party or restaurant and you don't want to refuse, take just 2 or 3 small pieces and follow them immediately with a large glass of water and a handful of nuts from your purse or pocket. This simple trick dilutes the sugar concentration and slows absorption enough to minimize the overnight damage. While pineapple poses significant evening risks for any senior concerned about cholesterol, the final fruit on this list delivers the most concentrated sugar bomb of all and creates cholesterol spikes that can affect even those who think they're metabolically healthy. Dates. These small, wrinkled fruits might look innocent, but dates are essentially nature's candy, and when seniors consume them after 5 p.m., they're delivering one of the most concentrated sugar loads possible directly into an evening metabolism that's primed for fat storage and cholesterol production. Here's what makes dates so particularly dangerous. A single medjool date, just one, contains approximately 16 grams of sugar, which is nearly equivalent to 4 teaspoons of table sugar. And unlike the gradual sugar release from fiber-rich fruits, dates sugar hits your bloodstream with remarkable speed because their fiber, while present, doesn't slow absorption enough to prevent the spike. Metabolic research conducted at the German Institute of Human Nutrition found that when adults over 60 consume high glycemic dried fruits like dates in the evening, their bodies experience what's called nocturnal hyperinsulinemia, a prolonged state of elevated insulin that forces the liver into overdrive, churning out triglycerides and LDL cholesterol throughout the night at rates up to 180% higher than baseline. The science behind this is straightforward but sobering. Your body's circadian biology programs your metabolism to wind down after sunset, reducing insulin sensitivity and shifting your liver toward fat synthesis in preparation for the overnight fast. When you introduce dates into this evening metabolic state, you're essentially asking a system that's designed to rest and repair to instead process a massive sugar load, and the result is metabolic chaos. Your blood sugar spikes, your insulin surges, your liver panics and starts converting every available molecule of fructose and glucose into fat. And that fat becomes the building blocks for the LDL cholesterol particles that clog your arteries and raise your cardiovascular risk by morning. Many people I've worked with are genuinely shocked when they learn that dates, which they've been eating as a natural evening sweet treat or energy boost, are one of the primary drivers behind their stubborn cholesterol elevations. Endocrinologists and lipid specialists recommend that if you enjoy dates, limit consumption to no more than 2 dates per day, consume them before 2 p.m., and always pair them with a source of healthy fat and protein, like wrapping them in a small piece of cheese or eating them alongside a handful of walnuts, to dramatically slow sugar absorption and prevent the insulin spike. Here's the practical reality that makes dates so challenging. They're incredibly energy-dense and sweet, which means they're psychologically satisfying in a way that makes them easy to overeat, and because they're dried, people often don't register them as real fruit, and eat 3, 4, or even 5 dates in a single sitting without thinking twice, not realizing they've just consumed the sugar equivalent of a candy bar right when their metabolism is least equipped to handle it. If you're someone who keeps dates in your pantry for occasional treats or energy boosts, here's a safer approach. Store them in your refrigerator in a small container that holds exactly 2 dates, and make a rule that you'll only eat them before noon and always with a tablespoon of almond butter or a few Brazil nuts to create a more balanced snack. For evening sweet cravings, replace dates entirely with a small square of dark chocolate, 70% cacao or higher, paired with 5 or 6 raw almonds. This combination satisfies the desire for something sweet and rich while delivering far less sugar and actually providing compounds that support healthy cholesterol levels rather than spiking them. And if you're in a social situation where dates are offered as part of a cheese board or dessert spread in the evening, politely take just one, eat it very slowly, and follow it immediately with a full glass of water and several pieces of cheese or nuts from the board. This buffers the sugar impact enough to prevent the worst of the overnight cholesterol surge. While dates create problems for virtually any senior over 60 due to their extreme sugar density, they're especially dangerous for those with prediabetes, insulin resistance, or existing cardiovascular disease, where even small evening sugar loads can trigger disproportionately large cholesterol responses and accelerate arterial damage that accumulates over time. So there you have it, for seemingly innocent fruits that, when eaten after 5 p.m., can quietly sabotage your cholesterol levels overnight and put your heart health at risk. The science is clear: ripe bananas, grapes, pineapple, and dates all trigger metabolic responses in seniors that accelerate LDL cholesterol production when consumed in the evening. The good news is you don't have to eliminate these fruits entirely, just shift when you eat them and how you pair them. Start with one simple change, like moving your fruit consumption to morning hours, and build from there. Now I'm curious, which of these 4 fruits surprised you the most? Drop a comment below and let me know where you're watching from and what you think. If you found this helpful, subscribe to stay updated on more health insights tailored for seniors like you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care of yourself.